Hello, here we go. It's the Cop-Out Podcast.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Cop-Out Podcast. We're back again for another show after Liverpool drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace after me and Kristian gave it the big one yesterday, saying 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 and Liverpool. I think we also did that thing where we were talking about Zaha and we were like, oh, he's not going to do anything. And then he scores. There's another point we jinxed it. But yeah, nice one for jumping on, Kristian. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good after all. Late night last night, obviously. It was loads of going on Twitter after the game and you reading things and you tweeting stuff. And then you're filled up with energy. So when you go to bed, you can't relax and it takes time to fall asleep. So a little bit tired, to be honest, but I'm all good. How are you? You went the game, so how are you?
Yeah, a few too many beers. Last train home. Yeah, I went with some lad that I know, Keith. He got me the ticket, and it was good because we just chatted the whole for about 2 hours after the game, or an hour and a half after the game. So I kind of got it all out of my system. So by the time I was home, it was Mackey's, get a burger, and then get to bed. Yeah. So I didn't have to chill out because I'd already got it off my chest. But I thought we promised everyone we'd jump back on again today to talk about it. Obviously, it's not the result we wanted, but there's 36 games left, which is 108 points, in case you're wondering. It's not all doom and gloom, albeit it does feel a bit of a stings a little bit because obviously the way the game went. But what did you make? Obviously, we're going to go into a bit more detail, but what did you think, obviously, just as an overall thing before we get into it?
As an overall game, I think we were good, not splendid, but we were good and we controlled the game from the start. We had a few chances early on and I didn't feel worried at all. For the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, I felt like, yeah, we're going to do this. And obviously we didn't finish our chances off and they got to score instead on a counter-attack. So then we were 1-0 down instead. And that obviously made a big difference and we needed to chase the game, if you like, and try to score to try to win it. And then obviously other things happen that we're going to talk about. So, I wasn't concerned at the start, but then obviously it didn't go the way we hopefully that we were waiting for, or what was the plan for it. So, yeah, it's one of them games.
Yeah, I think we questioned the character or maybe the application in the Fulham game in terms of it wasn't there. I don't think you can question that last night because I just think maybe injuries. Obviously, let's just talk about team news because obviously Nat Phillips starts. I don't know when the last time he started the Premier League game, but it must have been, I don't know, last Premier League game. I know he's played a few Champions League games, but more recently. But in terms of Premier League, it must be COVID season the last time he played one. And yeah, what did you make of that one? Obviously, Joe Gomez Klopp's obviously made the decision that he's only fit enough for 30 minutes. But I was surprised. I was
surprised. I don't know if there was any information about it in the last minutes, but I didn't read anything about it because I didn't have a chance until kickoff anyway. So I was surprised. And obviously when people said that Gomez wasn't fit or had a knock or whatever it was, just to, maybe keep it a little bit safe and play safe and don't gamble with him in, thinking we have Man United next game and all that. And we got Matip and Konate still out. So in that way, it was clever, but I was surprised, but I didn't feel worried about it, though. I think he started well. Nat Phillips, he's doing the job. He's not the most technical or fast player, but he feels strong and quite safe when he plays next to Van Dijk, as anyone does, I guess. Even I could play next to Van Dijk and look good.
I think Van Dijk could make anyone feel at home, couldn't he? But yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because we knew and we talked about it, because obviously we chatted about team news yesterday before the game, and we were saying up against Zaha, Gomez on that right side of the centre half would be key because the pace, and then obviously the goal comes from that side really because. To be fair, the play by Eze just before it, where he brings it down and then cuts inside and then plays the through ball, is world class. To be honest, how good that was. I only really appreciate it when I got home and got to watch the replay. But the way he glided past our midfield and then just played that ball through, and then obviously Phillips isn't quick enough. He's playing offside, so he's kind of half stopped. Van Dijk has to make a run across, And then I think Van Dijk could have got a touch on it. I don't know if I'm being too overly critical, but they go 1-0 up, and it was the first shot of the game, and it's just kind of like your shoulders like slug back, and you go, "Oh God, it's happening again." And I think
it's a great finish, though. He just
it's a great finish.
turns his shoulder and just put it wide from the goalkeeper. He's Alisson doesn't have any chance. So it's a good finish, but we give them the opportunity to counter-attack and to score, actually, because sloppy defending. And that's the thing, though, when we control the game, having the ball and possession and all that, and we lose the ball in that kind of way, and Phillips in this instance is not on his feet, and he take another half a second to decide what to do, and he just feels like he's losing it, and he's just coming totally wrong into the situation, and that causes the goal.
Yeah, and I think that first 20 minutes we were good. Like you said, the Nat Phillips coming in, he was winning loads of headers, he was getting stuck in. His distribution was good for the first part of the game. Obviously, he had a few stray ones as the game went on, where I think everyone was trying to force it a little bit. I think even Trent a couple of times was like trying to force a pass through that probably wasn't there, just because we were trying to get ourselves back into the game. But yeah, I think it's one of them. Obviously, Nunes has a couple of chances, actually. I think he hits the post. It was weird. I couldn't really see it very well from where I was, but I think it clips the post. And another one where he like kind of mishits it when it comes in, like on a half volley or a volley, it might have been. And it just looked like it wasn't going to be one of those, like you said, one of those games. It was just going to be another bad day.
Yeah, Milner had one in the start as well, where he just, drives through the shot and he goes high over the bar, where you think that, with a little bit of coolness in the situation, maybe you can, keep the ball down on the ground. And even though it could be a save or touch someone, I'd rather have you hit the goal or aim for goal, not go just full force and over. But that's Milner for you, though. He's doing the job and he's very, a lot of energy. He's not the best finisher. But yeah, like you said, Nunez had chances too. But it's just we have the chances, but we don't really, finish them off. And that will hit back at you at some point, as it usually does when you don't. Because if we score 1 or 2 early on, it's a totally different game, obviously. And we don't do it, and they score, and that gives them a lot of energy for us to chase instead of control. And that's we've seen it before, because we have the ball that much and we do control the games, but then we lose it in a vital area on the pitch, and the players are going forward and suddenly we have to run back to defend, and that's not good because it's very wide open because we play in a high defensive line. So we've seen it before, and it will happen probably again because we play with a little bit of risk. But this time, obviously, like I said, Nat Phillips made that kind of 1 second mistake in his head where he wasn't sure what to do, and that just caused the problem.
Yeah, and obviously that. I don't think we predicted a midfield of Milner, Fabinho, and Harvey Elliott, did we? I think we went through.
Someone, I guess, had a comment of Milner and Elliott and Fabinho, wasn't it? Or was it Henderson? I can't remember now.
I don't know, actually. I think someone was close, but I think, like, in hindsight, it's easy to say this, and Dan's just put a comment in that I just want to talk about. Dan, nice one for jumping in. He's put, Fabinho shouldn't dive in with Eze. Lets him skip by him and opens up the whole pitch. Phillips should never be trying to step up in that situation with no pressure on the ball when he can't recover. And like I said, it's easy to say in hindsight, but I feel like that was a game for Jordan Henderson to play the 6, because the energy, I think when Hendo come on, there was a load more energy. There was like, and like, it's hard to say for Fabinho because when he's on top form, he's one of the best, but I feel like he's struggled lately a little bit in terms of what he's trying to do. Like, he'll get the ball and I don't know, it just seems like he's caught in like 4 minds at one point, in one like systematic phase of play, and you kind of like, you can't really do that in such a key position like that. But yeah, that wasn't, I mean, their first shot on target, and that was kind of from Fabinho, weren't it?
Yeah, and like you said, Fabinho looked a little bit slow, and he doesn't get to the positions the way we usually see him, interrupt opposition's play. It seems like he's a little bit, behind the game all the time. Like you could see that some of his tackles wasn't as clear as they usually are, and obviously that caused a bit of problem as well because he's the defensive midfielder in front of our back four, and the one who actually is really good with interruption of the opposition's play. Usually that we can win ball and then put a straight ball into our offensive top three, and they are really quick. That's sometimes how we score because the opposition can't cope with it because he wins the ball quickly and then we get the full energy going forward. But like you said, I think with Andersson, when he came on, all the energy, and I think I wrote it on Twitter as well when we were discussing things like people didn't want to have Andersson in the team. And I was like, well, he might not be the best footballer all the time. He might not be the most skillful player, even if, he's been important to us. But I think with that kind of captain to, drive the team on when you need to react is very important. And like you said, when he came on, you could see that. So I think it would have been actually a good thing for him to start this kind of game. Obviously, being on the bench, he wants to prove himself when he come in as well. So, he's probably disappointed that he started on the bench and then want to prove that he should start next game. And also that obviously gives him energy when he comes on. But he helps the team. So, I think even if he puts a few, crosses not, correct, or it's not the best balls into the box and all that, but he gives energy just by leading on the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's something you can criticise Jordan Henderson for quite a few things, I suppose, in terms of if you want the perfect midfielder, he's not the perfect midfielder, but in terms of energy and giving the team drive, that's something that can never be questioned. And yeah, nice one, Yash, for the comments. I just thought I'd pop that up while we were kind of covering Fabinho anyway. But yeah, so that Zaha puts them 1-0 up, 32 minutes. I thought that first half at Harvey Elliott, I think for the rest of the game, he was one of the star players, wasn't he? He was just he was terrific, wasn't he?
Yeah, he links up with other players. He's skillful, he's got technique, and he gives the ball, he passes the ball and take new positions. So he kind of asks questions for the position straight away, and he's doing smart runs, and you can see that he's got a football brain, and he's got the skills. He's not the quickest, but in terms of moving and passing the ball, he still create space, and he can go past another player because he actually got the technique for it. So I would like to see him play much more because with more experience, with more game time, he will develop and become better. And I think he's going to be great for us in the future, and even now, from now on. But you can see that he's a footballer, proper footballer.
Yeah, definitely. Paul's in. Afternoon, lads. I'm back in the world of working today. How was your drive back, Paul? I hope you went on your phone. And he's also agreeing, obviously, with us that Elliott played well. But yeah, like I said, they got the goal half time. I went down, got myself a crappy bottle of Carlsberg, and was like, "Oh God, we're gonna have to try and get back into this game again after doing it." It seems like all the time. Like, so I don't know if I mentioned the stat about like we've conceded like the first goal in 5 consecutive games since '97, I think it was. So, but now it's obviously 6 games because we conceded the first goal again last night. So I don't know when that goes back to, but I imagine it's probably. I don't imagine it was this 80s or 70s. It's probably 60s when you're going back to kind of fit that stat into it. But yeah, second half, I don't think we start. I don't think we start the second half that well either, to be honest. And it's mad because obviously we need to talk about the Nunes red card, which happens just before the hour mark, and it kind of changes the game, but like in a good way for us, which is like the weirdest thing ever, isn't it?
Yeah, I read something on Twitter that someone said Klopp should just tell Luis Diaz to say that we are 10 men from the start of the game because he was having so much energy after the red card and was brilliant from that point. As was the team, with 10 men, you kind of felt that they were needed to fight more and actually put in a proper fight because you're 1-0 down. You will try to get a point from it or even go win it, but it will be really, really hard when you're 10 men. So I could question myself personally. I think I could question that when we're 11 against 11, why don't we put that kind of shift in from the start? Because I think that in Crystal Palace wouldn't stand a chance if we put that on from the start. And if we then score 1-2 with that kind of energy and pace and intensity, then we can just calm down a bit and control the game. Instead, now we kind of started sloppy. It wasn't going that quick. We didn't move the ball quick enough. And obviously, like we said, in the first half, they scored. But after the red card, then everything changed. And like you said, it was in a good way. I felt that when we were 10 men after the red card, we actually were playing quicker, a little bit more with maybe, a risk, because we needed to take risk to score a goal as well. We couldn't just keep the ball in control. We needed to go forward. But I felt that they were a little bit more scared when we got 10 men, and we actually started to get on them straight away. You could, like I said, Luis Diaz were on them from that point, and then he scored. So, a worldie as well. So put that shift in from the start, boys, please.
Yeah, and that's the most frustrating thing. Obviously, something that I spoke about to a few of the lads after the game. Like, why can't we do that before? Because obviously, I think it's 4 minutes between the red card and the goal. 4 minutes. Like, why couldn't we have done that? And obviously, have you seen the clip floating around on Twitter of like the Andersson and Nunes like bumping into each other all game? I was like, that's normal. That happens. Like, it doesn't matter if it's Premier League or Sunday League and like amateur footy. That's just typical centre half play. And like Nunes is like really is an idiot really for doing that, because he's obviously he hasn't cost us the game, but because like we just said, in a weird way, it kind of galvanised us, and the volume in the stadium went up like 2,000%, and obviously that's something that we need to kind of get from the beginning, because I think it's happened before, like when like we were playing Arsenal and Arteta and Klopp had like a bit of a Barney on the side, and then obviously the crowd's up, the tail's up, and then it's just one of them. But I've got a stat for you, Kristian, about obviously the red card. I know you love stats.
Nope.
Obviously, Tierney, the referee, I'm not even going to full name him because I hate him. So he gave us, he was obviously last night the ref, but he gave us our red card as well last year against Spurs, the Andy Robertson one, the game where Harry Kane should get sent off as well, and he doesn't give it. And obviously this is from Mike Reid from Opta, and the stat is since the start of last season, Tierney has reffed 10% of Liverpool's Premier League games, but has given us 26% of our cards, including both red cards. That blows my mind. That.
Yeah, he proper hates us. That's the.
He hates it. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, and there were some moments in the game where people were shouting on Twitter as well that penalty shouts for, I don't know if it was a Diaz, that the defender was kind of crawling over his back and stuff. It's hard to give them, but you could tell there was some tackles and situation on the pitch where he gave free kicks, and you could tell that sometimes it was the same kind of battle in the penalty area. I'm one of them who wouldn't like if they were given against us, so I don't say that we should have them. But when you see that, it feels like the level is always up and down with referees. Like sometimes players are allowed to do more, like especially derbies or big games. And some games you feel like, well, you just put in that kind of tackle there and you didn't give a free kick, but then it happens not long after that, and then it's a free kick. Sometimes you don't know what's allowed to do and not. I just feel like sometimes you're just fucking angry with. Sorry, swore there, but
all you want.
Angry with the referees because not just the VAR, but the referees in general. I think they're shite.
Yeah, well they are. It's a constant theme. Like we bang this drum that the Premier League's the best in the world, and the standard of the refereeing is just atrocious in comparison. And I don't know how that obviously equates to like La Liga, the quality to refs, because obviously I don't watch enough of it, but in terms of ours, like the level of the footy's up here and on the refereeing is down here, which is something that shouldn't be acceptable. But Nunes has got to get sent off. He's now going to miss 3 games. He'll be back for the Everton derby on 3rd of September. I think that's an early kickoff.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if he gets started in that game. I'd be surprised, especially after being out for 3. But we'll see in terms of where Jota's up to then, and hopefully Firmino, because Firmino wasn't even on the bench last night, was he? He was out with a precautionary injury.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it's not good when Firmino's picking up knocks still, because he keeps getting these, and it's not helping him in terms of getting himself back to the form that he wants to get back to be fair. But yeah, like we said, 4 minutes after that, Luis Diaz, like you rightly said, becomes an absolute warrior after that red card. He was everywhere. And Dan's just commented, the equaliser was just an incredible solo goal. Henderson and Gomez coming on made a big impact. Faster passes through the lines. Elliott, Trent and Diaz were playing about 4 positions each. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And then Yash has put, the goal was phenomenal, but the way Louis track back Zaha, I think Luis Diaz will explode in the games to come. Yeah, it was one of them, weren't it? Like the way he took her inside and went past two, and then he's done it a few times actually where he's done that, and then he's had a shot and it like he'll sky it, and then people get on his back saying, "No, why are you trying it from there?" And it's like, well, we should be encouraging that really, because we keep saying we don't have enough players that take people on and have a shot from range. We like to keep passing it and get in the box and do it, and obviously that works better because you're close to goal. But when you can do something like Luis Diaz did last night, then let's encourage that, because it was absolutely ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the goals you see him score for Porto, it's a lot of them kind of goals. And you'd be like, if we can have that in our team, obviously, I guess the Premier League is, a few levels up from the Portuguese league in terms of physicality and pace and all that. But, he got the skills, and if he can continue to do what he did last night and score them kind of goals, it's a bit of obviously he's more, a more tricky player, if you like, than maybe Coutinho, but he could also cut in and bend them like that. And if you can have Diaz doing that and Salah being more like a threat, maybe taking on players, you got different kind of styles of going forward and actually trying to score goals, which I like. And I've seen Diaz doing that before. It hasn't really been successful, but now he got that goal and he will have self-confidence from it, and I think he will go on to score more of them kind of goals during the season. So I'm just happy, because we saw when he came last winter, was it? Yeah. So that he's got skills, and he was almost straight into the team, even if he was coming on as like sub for Mane and stuff. But you can see that he's a proper player. So with this kind of goal, he can just move forward, and hopefully we score more goals. And he will play every game as long as he stays fit.
Yeah, he only joined in January, didn't he? So he's not even been here a year yet, which is, I think, obviously when he came in, he done so well. I don't know if he's made a rod for his own back in terms of he's set his bar so high that if he drops below that, it's noticeable. I don't know if that's fair, because he's still performing really well, and obviously the goal was just ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
But Connor from the Cop Console, nice one, Connor, for jumping on. Afternoon, lads, and chat. Still fuming with Darwin, but Harvey and Diaz were the standouts from last night. Yeah, definitely. Yash, thoughts on if Luis Diaz would have tried it the first time rather than controlling the long pass? Does that mean in terms of the goal? I'll wait for Yash to come back on that. But what do you take from that, Kristian? Do you read that as touched it and then shot straight away, or not done the dribble, or?
I'm not sure. To be honest.
Well, we wait for your reply, mate. We wait for it. But yeah, the goal goes in, and then obviously we're then chasing the game. But who said it earlier? Someone said it in the chat. Oh yeah, Dan said Trent and Diaz were playing. Trent was striker for a bit. He was just bombing forward and just going everywhere. But yeah, we don't get that goal that we need. Obviously, we had a few chances. Salah has a good chance, and yeah, there was a few good ones there that you kind of if that goes in. But then similarly, Palace had one. I think towards the end of the game, Zaha hits the post where it gets flashed across the goal. And you're if that goes in, that is an arrow to the heart. That is pure. You go home going, oh my God, that is pure dejection. So all in all, I think obviously they were wasting time as well. Just ridiculous. Henderson was having a go at, I think it was Will Hughes, because he was just standing on the ball and just what are you doing? You've got 11 men against 10. But then you've got to factor in they got beat in the first game, so they're probably happy with a draw. But it's just still frustrating all the same. But I've got more stats for you, Kristian. So we had 24 shots last night. and only 4 of them were on target. That's something we can definitely improve on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mentioned Milner in the start. Salah hits one straight from a pass, which just goes wide, and I was a little bit annoyed because I thought that he got time to just, take it on the foot and then shoot, but he shoots straight away, and you can see that there's no control. It's kind of them shots. I think even Elliott had a chance which you think would go into goal, but it's a deflection on a defender. There's loads of just half chances, if you like, where you think there's a chance, and with a little bit of luck, it could be a deflection into goal, or it could actually be a good finish. But we just don't have the margins in this game. Like I said, we could have been 1-0, 2-0 up at the start if we were really had a killer instinct when we came to the chance, but we just didn't, and that will come back at you like it did. So there's loads of creating, but it's not enough creating. It's more half chances than actually really good chances. There's a few good chances, but it's not dangerous enough. We need to, like I said, I think we need to be more quicker playing the ball around. We need to be a little bit more creative.
Just faster, I think. Just faster.
Yeah,
in the
way to
build-up.
play. So, because then most of the teams won't keep up with us when we put that energy on, and that's also what I said with the things like if we can start like that with that energy and pace, then there's loads of teams that won't be able to cope with us. But it's something now where I think loads of players look a little bit tired. I don't know if it's a pre-season thing still that hangs on. And obviously it was a long season last season because we were going for all trophies. We were in all competitions till the end. So you were going for it all the time. And if that's something that still lingers, I don't know. But it feels like there's still something missing to get to that kind of level where we put more pace on in the game, which I really want us to do, because when we see Liverpool play that way, we usually, I wouldn't say we win easily, but we usually win.
Yeah, and I've got another stuff. I've got loads of stats here. I've got too many for you. Liverpool have created more expected goals, and I don't read much into this expected goals thing, but Liverpool have created more expected goals in their opening 2 Premier League games than any other team, which is 4.7. So I assume that's like a chance where statistically it should go in. And we've created the most of them in the first 2 games, which is mad considering we drew both.
Yeah, and that says a lot as well. Like this, when we don't have that kind of rhythm and things don't go away, it kind of, I wouldn't say it just is, gets on our mind and we feel like we can't score or whatever. But it's just 2 of them games. Like Fulham was a game where we were not good enough. They were much better. We weren't good. I think we were good last night. We just didn't get to the level we used to, but we control the game. But like I said, when we had the chances, we didn't finish them off. And that's, you need to have the killer instinct if you're a striker. And I wouldn't, blame Nunez, but if you have that chance and he gets like a foot proper on the ball and finish it off like we've seen him done before, he will score goals in the future. It's just one of them where, it doesn't just click for them. And it's annoying because that 1 or 2 goals would have made a big difference for the game instead of them going 1-0 up. So it's, sometimes it's just loads of if and a little bit of unluck as well.
Yeah, I think it was one of those games as well for me that we've played that game loads of times and we've won it.
Yeah.
And it's been like, oh yeah, that's what champions do. I mean, I don't think we played. I think we played well. I don't think we played well the whole game. I think there was parts where I was like literally so frustrated, and like obviously their setup and whatever else, and you can kind of, that's just what you've got to face when you bring in like some of the teams that are fighting a bit lower down in the league they come to Anfield, they're going to play in a certain way, and we need to. I think like what you were saying before, like be faster in the build up, just be quicker with the thoughts. And obviously, like we said, like when Nunez gets sent off, that the dial gets twisted and all of a sudden the crowd's there, the players are going 100 miles an hour, everyone's running everywhere. And obviously you can't do that all game, but I think we need to do that a bit better. because I think we can't keep having games like this. And obviously we've got Man United in, 6 days?
Yeah.
And before the game, I think I was of the opinion that I'm gutted that it's a big gap, but I'm kind of, after seeing last night, I'm kind of happy in a way, because obviously Keita was on the bench, he didn't come on, so that obviously means he's not ready. He was just on the bench because the bench was very weak, because we've got 9 injuries, 10 if you include Nunes. Nunes is out for 3 games now, so we've got 10 missing people basically, which I've got a list here just to confirm it. Let's just count this through. So we've got Thiago, Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Jota, Kelleher, Kanate, Matip, Ramsey, Firmino, Nunes. So there's 10, which is like no team. Doesn't matter, like, people going about depth, and I get it, I do get that, but there's no team in the world that can like take 10 missing players, potentially first 11 players. Obviously, there's a few there that aren't. Obviously, Ramsey and stuff, we haven't even seen him yet, but there's quite a few there that would play and at least be part of the squad, and that's like, it's not fair to expect much more than what we're given what we've got on at our disposal. Is that fair or not?
Yeah, I think you got a point, because if we had fit Jota on the bench, he scored loads of goals. If you could substitute him on, obviously say the red card didn't happen, Nunez is having a game where he's being bullied, it doesn't work for him, bring him off, give him rest, and then put Jota on, and you have a goal scorer and someone who can play in the middle or on the to the side or whatever. So he scored goals for us. We know that. So that he's missing. We got Thiago. Obviously, we know that he's creative and really good on the midfield. Running the games and stuff. Curtis Jones got his abilities, even though I think we're waiting for him to develop even more. So become a little bit better as well. But there's loads of players there who can do things, and they can't play because they are injured at the moment. And obviously now we're happy that we have another 6 days between. So the players who played last night will have more rest, and some injured players will be back. I guess Keita, obviously, because he was on the bench.
Yeah.
Maybe, I can't remember Curtis Jones, if he will be back fit, if he was out for a month, I think. So maybe not. Matip was out for 2 weeks, so he probably won't be fit. I think then obviously, hopefully, Gomez stay fit, because he was really good when he came on. Because you see that he's a great centre back, like you mentioned yesterday when we spoke as well. He's still young, but he's one of the greatest English centre backs around. I think he's just calm. He got pace, and he doesn't stress in situations like, for example, Nat Phillips did. I think if that was Gomez, that goal would never happen.
Yeah, and it's a shame, isn't it? Because like they've obviously decided that before the game. Like they've asked Gomez, "Are you okay to play?" I don't know, 60 minutes. And I don't know if it's Joe Gomez's decision to say no, or is obviously the sports science that obviously Klopp reads a lot into, and that we use it to try and avoid injuries. And obviously it's not going very well so far for us. But it's obviously been decisions been made that Nat's going to play 60 and Gomez is going to play 30. But I think if they were reversed, I do think we get a better result. And that's not a slight on Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips has been tremendous for us, and obviously getting us third in the Premier League with him and Reece Williams and God knows who else at centre back, when we had like 20 different partnerships that year. But he's not the player you need to. He's not an elite player. He's a good, solid, like, Premier League player. I think Nat Phillips would do well in the Premier League for a lower club, but for Liverpool's and like the bigger dogs in the league, you can't. I don't think you can have it. But Dan's comment here, nice one, Dan. Can't wait for Jota to come back. Scored a lot of goals. Scored a lot of first goals in games last season. Yeah, that's a good point, because that's a really good point, actually, because we're talking about like being clinical and like getting that early goal, and that's like something, it's so pivotal, isn't it? Especially in games against Palace, where they're going to just like sit back and counter attack it, and he did it perfectly. But if we had Jota on the pitch, maybe he takes one of those chances, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Or if he were on the bench and could come in and have an impact, he's that kind of player who could do that, because we've seen it before. And now we don't have him, and obviously with Nunes being sent off, there's not many options. And Diaz scores are worthy, like I said, but like you mentioned, the injuries that we have and the players that are injured, there's some of them who could always make an impact in games, and that's sad that they're not available for us in games where we should win, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Dave's in. Nice one, Dave. All right, lads, a tough one last night, but we go again. Fab's form has dipped recently. Yeah, it has, unfortunately, and I think me and Kristian have kind of like agreed that it would have probably been best to start Hendo, but that kind of feeds into what Dan said. Dan said medical team told Klopp that Gomez and Henderson couldn't start. Hendo shouldn't have even played the 30, apparently. Which is, yeah, it's one of them. I think and it's all good saying this after the game, obviously, when you've drew 1-1 and you're disappointed. But I think if Gomez and Henderson did start, I feel like we would have got a better result. And obviously, no one knows, and no one can know. But I just feel like we would have had more energy in midfield. We would have had more pace at the back, and that's what Palace. You need to have energy in midfield against Palace, and you need to have pace because there's Zaha, and he's always a threat, and he proved it last night. But yeah, I think we've done 36 minutes there, Kristian, and it's getting on for 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock your time. No, yeah, is it 4 o'clock your time?
Yeah, 4 o'clock. Yeah. 1 hour ahead.
Yeah. But I just thought we'd leave it there then, because that's been good enough. And obviously I could do a load more, but we're on a schedule and we can't go over. But I could do another hour about just talking about just trying to get this all off my chest. But I'm sure we can do another one. We could even do a Twitter space, maybe tomorrow or something like that. Maybe just if people fancy that. So we've done one the other day, and it was on the Copite account. But I might do it from the Copite podcast Twitter account, because obviously then the people that are watching this video are more likely to maybe jump on and have a chat with us rather than the main Copite account. So I might do that. But yeah, we'll maybe do that tomorrow and have like a little half an hour where we can get other people's thoughts on everything going into the United game. And then we might do so United game's next Monday, so we could do like a preview on the weekend or something like that, like we did, or on the day like we did yesterday, which is obviously not enough time for people maybe to watch the whole, like the video if they're busy and stuff. But yeah, maybe this Sunday we could do something for the United game. But yeah, nice one everyone for the comments. Been loads of good ones in there, and yeah, nice one to Kristian for jumping on, taking the time to jump on, and yeah, up the Reds. We'll see you next time.